Have you ever met someone new and didn't know what to say? Don't worry. In this lesson, you will learn how to start a friendly conversation in English and make new friends easily. You'll hear natural English expressions, learn how to greet someone, ask simple questions, and keep the conversation going smoothly. By the end, you'll feel more confident talking to people you meet at school, work, or anywhere in daily life. Imagine you are at a park or a cafe and you see someone sitting alone. You want to talk, but you're not sure how to begin. The best way to start is with a warm and friendly greeting. You can simply say, "Hi," or "Hey, how are you?" If you want to sound a bit more polite, you can say, "Hello, how's your day going?" These short and simple greetings help to open the door for a conversation. Most people will smile and respond, and that's how the first connection begins. After the greeting, you can introduce yourself. You might say, "I'm Anna. Nice to meet you." Or, "My name's David. What's your name?" Remember to smile and keep a friendly tone. Smiling shows that you are kind and open to talking. The other person will usually reply with their name too. And then you can say something like, "Nice to meet you, Sarah." This small exchange helps build comfort between you and the other person. Once you know each other's names, it's good to ask a simple question to keep the conversation going. You can talk about where you are or what you're doing. For example, if you're in a park, you can say, "It's a beautiful day today, isn't it?" Or, "Do you come here often?" If you're at an event, you might say, "Have you been here before?" Or, "How did you hear about this event?" These small questions help you find something in common. People like talking about familiar things, and it makes the conversation flow naturally. After you've started talking and shared a few simple ideas about yourselves, the next step is to keep the conversation interesting and friendly. Once you know the person's name and have asked about general things like the weather or the place you're at, you can move on to talking about hobbies, interests, or activities. Asking about what someone likes is a great way to discover common ground and make the friendship stronger. For example, you can ask, "What do you like to do in your free time?" Or, "Do you have any hobbies?" These questions are open-ended, which means they require more than just a yes or no answer. If the person says, "I enjoy painting," you can respond with curiosity. "That sounds interesting. What do you usually paint?" By asking small follow-up questions, you show that you are genuinely interested in them, and it keeps the conversation flowing naturally. You can also share your own hobbies and interests. For example, if the person says they like music, you might say, "I like music too. I usually listen to pop songs. What kind of music do you like?" Sharing about yourself helps the other person get to know you and can make the conversation feel balanced. Remember, a conversation is like a little dance. Both people take turns sharing and listening. Finally, don't be afraid to laugh or smile during the conversation. Light humor or funny little stories
can make a new friendship feel more natural. For example, if you're talking about hobbies and you accidentally spill coffee while saying something funny, you can laugh and say, "Oops, I'm a little clumsy sometimes." Laughing together creates a connection and makes people remember you as someone fun and friendly. Once you have talked about hobbies and shared a few stories, the next step is to get a little deeper and make the conversation more meaningful. At this stage, you can talk about experiences, feelings, or simple opinions. This helps you understand each other better and builds a stronger connection. For example, you can ask questions like, "Have you ever traveled anywhere interesting?" Or, "What's your favorite memory from school?" These questions give the other person a chance to share something personal, but not too private. Listening carefully to their stories shows that you care about what they're saying. You can respond with phrases like, "That sounds amazing," or "I would love to visit that place too." These small reactions show empathy and interest, which are very important when making new friends. You can also share your own experiences. For example, last summer, I went to the mountains. It was so peaceful and beautiful. Sharing a little about yourself helps the other person feel more comfortable and encourages them to open up. It's important to balance talking and listening. If you only talk about yourself, the other person may feel left out. If you only ask questions without sharing anything, the conversation may feel like an interview. The key is to mix both. At this stage, using expressions that show understanding is very helpful. Phrases like, "I understand," "That must have been fun," or "I can imagine that," make the other person feel that you are truly listening. Even small words like "really?" or "wow" can make a big difference. They show that you are engaged and enjoying the conversation. Another tip is to notice shared feelings or opinions. If the person says, "I was nervous on my first day at work," you can respond, "I know how that feels. I was nervous too when I started my last job." Sharing similar feelings helps people feel connected because it shows you have common experiences. This is how trust and friendship slowly begin to grow. It's also a good time to use gentle humor or little stories that make the conversation enjoyable. For example, if you are talking about a class or work, you might say, "I always forget where I put my keys. Sometimes I find them in the fridge." Small, funny moments make you more relatable and make the conversation light and pleasant. People naturally like talking to someone who makes them smile. Be aware of body language and tone. Even if you are talking online or on the phone, your words and tone can show kindness and interest. If you're in person, a relaxed posture, occasional nods, and smiling help the other person feel comfortable. Showing respect and friendliness through your words and actions makes a big difference in making new friends. After sharing experiences and stories, the next step is to talk about everyday life and small routines. This may seem simple, but talking about daily activities helps the other person feel more connected to you. It also gives you more topics to explore naturally without forcing the conversation. You can ask questions like, "What do you usually do after school or work?" Or, "Do you like cooking or eating out?" Simple questions about daily life make it easy for the other person to respond and keep the conversation flowing. For example, if they say, "I usually read books in the evening," you can respond, "That sounds relaxing. What kind of books do you like?" By following up, you encourage them to share more details. Sharing small details about your own life is important too. You might say, "I usually go for a walk in the park after work. It helps me relax." These small personal details make the conversation feel more real and friendly. When both people share a little about their daily routines, it creates a sense of familiarity and comfort, which is important for building friendships. At this stage, it's also helpful to talk about light opinions or preferences. Questions like, "Do you like movies or series?" Or, "Do you prefer summer or winter?" are simple but effective. People enjoy sharing their opinions, and it can lead to interesting discussions. If they like a certain type of movie, you can share your own favorite and maybe suggest watching one together later. Remember to keep the tone friendly and positive. Avoid controversial topics or anything too personal at this point. The goal is to create a comfortable, enjoyable conversation where both people feel relaxed. Using phrases like, "That's really interesting," or "I never thought about it that way," encourages the other person to continue talking. You can use small gestures to show friendliness if you are meeting in person. Nodding, smiling, or leaning slightly forward shows that you are interested and engaged. Even simple comments like, "I'm glad we met today," or "It's nice talking with you," can make the other person feel appreciated. These little actions help strengthen the connection and make the conversation memorable. Now that you have talked about hobbies, experiences, and daily life, it's time to think about keeping the friendship going. Meeting someone new is just the first step. The next step is to show that you want to stay in touch and continue building a connection. A natural way to do this is to suggest staying connected or planning something small together. You can say things like, "It was really nice talking to you. Would you like to meet again sometime?" Or, "Maybe we could grab coffee next week." These phrases are friendly and polite, and they show that you enjoy the other person's company. You don't have to make a big plan. Even a simple suggestion shows interest in continuing the friendship. When it feels appropriate, you can exchange contact information. For example, "Do you use WhatsApp or Instagram? Maybe we can chat there." Sharing contact details makes it easier to stay in touch and continue conversations outside of the first meeting. When you send a short message later, like, "It was great meeting you today," it reinforces the positive experience and keeps the friendship alive. Another important tip is to remember details from your conversation. If they mentioned a favorite hobby, book, or show, you can bring it up next time. "Hey, did you finish that book you were reading?" Or, "How was your weekend hike?" This shows that you listened carefully and care about what they shared. Small gestures like this make a big difference in forming lasting friendships. It's also good to continue practicing kindness and positivity. Compliments, small jokes, and friendly words help maintain a pleasant connection. You can say, "I really enjoy talking with you. You have such interesting stories." Or, "You always make me laugh."
Positive words help people feel happy and valued, which makes them want to spend more time with you. Finally, remember that friendships take time to grow. You don't have to become best friends immediately. Keep conversations light, fun, and respectful. Show interest, listen carefully, and share about yourself naturally. Over time, small interactions and friendly gestures build trust, comfort, and a real connection. Every new conversation is a step toward a meaningful friendship.